I can't if I want to. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danayajo. If you have not already done so, make sure that you guys follow me on all social media at Danayajo. That's DANAYAEZURE. All of my links are in the description below. So I wanted to come on today to kind of give you guys an idea of make sure that you guys can hear me. Hold on one second. Got to make sure that my volume is up and ready to go. Hey, Queen, how are you? Hold on, I'm checking my volume real quick. Give me 1 second, you guys. Hold on, I'm checking my volume real quick. Awesome sauce. It sounds great. Beautiful. Hey, Goddess, how are you, Queen? Yeah, make sure y'all grab up Goddess because she's dope. She can do nails, she can do hair, she can do makeup. I mean, she can do everything. Cannot wait to go and visit her. Hey, Chupacabra, how are you? Yes, 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 yes. Good. So it's one here. So yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. I was having issues. It was so funny. I'm gonna be able to go live by 12:45, and then I couldn't find something. I was like, wait, I couldn't find a tool. So I'm a jewelry designer. When you can't find tools, that the whole world stops. Okay. So I found it. I accidentally had put the tool in the same place where I went to put my earrings at. Child, the issues we have. Yes, that's why I love you because you're such an amazing supporter. Shout out to No Crabs in the Barrel. That is Goddess's thing. That's what she created because she's dope. Because it's the whole mentality of working together and doing dope things together, not just by yourself. Because let's be very clear, nobody has done anything by themselves, contrary to what some people believe. So I wanted to come on today real quick and talk about the CPS strike and my thoughts on the Chicago Public School strike. For those who don't know what CPS is, Chicago Public School System is a school system that I grew up in. They have a lot of dumb things that they've done in terms of the way they treated teachers, the fact that they have teachers go back and get different certificates that the school refuses to pay for, or they make the teachers pay for out of the salary that they're getting around $50,000-$60,000 a year. People are like, oh, that's a lot of money. Well, if you have to be a teacher, a mother, a security guard, a nurse, and I'm not even kidding when I'm saying this, they have about 4 different jobs and they're getting paid one salary for that. Let's start there. On top of that, they have to purchase a lot of things for their students that they shouldn't be purchasing. They have to be purchasing basic things like paper and pencils and all the stuff that should be already in the budget for the schools. But the teachers have to come out of their own pocket after paying for school, which can be $80,000. Hey, Deanna, how are you? After paying $80,000 for their schooling, they have to come back and purchase basic supplies for their students because the schools won't do it, right? I get so frustrated with the situation because there's always every single time now mind you, I've been on the picket lines with the teachers the multiple times. Yes. It blew my mind because I was at my old grammar school. That was the first protest that I went to. No, I take that back. That was the second protest. The very first protest I went to for teachers, I believe they had joined a protest that I was already doing downtown for unions, and I forget which one. Because Lord, I've been doing protests for a very long time. I've led protests. It's hilarious when I'm out there in a protest because I always almost always get the megaphone, whether I'm supposed to or not, because I am loud when it comes to protests and when it comes to talking about what I believe and standing up for people, especially when it comes to housing and youth issues and oh goodness, and community issues. So when it comes to schooling, I went to my old grammar school because I still live in the same neighborhood, basically that I grew up in. So I went to my old grammar school, and that's what they told us. They're like, we have to purchase our own paper and pens. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. You have to have these things in order to work. These are not things. Hey, Miss Church, how are you? These are not things that are luxuries. These are necessities that the teachers have to purchase because the school does not do so. And you can tell me all day how much Chicago doesn't have money for this, Chicago doesn't have money for that, but you managed to build a new police academy. You managed to build, oh Lord, what else did they do? They built a new like big shiny CCA station that we didn't need. All we asked in CCA for the Chicago Transit Authority. Again, I forget y'all not from here. All we asked about Chicago Transit Authority is for us to have safe places to ride. If you're gonna charge us a crazy amount of money to be on this daggone thing, we want to be able to sit down and ride. Right. It's true for a lot of teachers that are major early childhood education, and it's sad. It's pathetic. It's not just that, it's pathetic, and it's frustrating. And so people are like, well, why are they on strike now? They gave the teachers what they wanted. Okay, look. Now imagine that you are one person. You have to take care of. Let's see. We had classrooms the size of 25 to 30. 25 to 30. Now imagine you have 25 to 30 children that you're taking care of. Not only are you taking care of 25 to 30 children, but 10 of those kids have behavioral issues. So the rest of your kids can't even learn because 10 kids are disrupting the class to the point that you can't even do your job. And then you try to send this to the counselor, but the counselor has 1,500 students to deal with. At my job, we have a basket for school supplies for teachers. Yep, Chupacabra, absolutely. A lot of people are doing that now because they see the plight of these teachers. But at the end of the day, the problem with the situation is this should not even be on the teachers, period. That's my issue. Because this is a necessity, and this is what you claim that the students need. What's going on with the private schools? As I looked to my old school, it closed in 2001. And since it's like 90% of Catholic and private schools have been closed. Okay, so the private schools, I'm gonna get into the Catholic schools in a second, because the Catholic schools have been closed because they're losing money because they are fighting all those cases for pedophilia. That's why the Catholic schools are closing. Now, when it comes to the public schools, what happened was the past mayor that we had a clear plan to destroy the schools. Right? Teachers don't even get paid enough to buy supply. Exactly. But so the last mayor that we had, Rahm Emanuel, who I always call the empty chair. And he was like, why did you ever call him the empty chair? I was, yes. Hey, Leo, how are you? Hey, washing your hair and listening. Okay, I got you. So what happened was the schools, a lot of the schools closed. They started the plan in 2010. Look up Renaissance 2010, and it kind of explains what their basic idea was. So what they started doing was they started closing down schools, right? They started closing down schools, predominantly African American and Latino schools, right? And they do this predominantly on the south and the west side of Chicago. The first batch of schools they closed was 50, not 15, but 50 schools were closed in Chicago. Now, mind you, we when these schools were closed, and after multiple protests and all of that, when these schools were closed, where did these kids go? They have no idea. Now, what's interesting about this whole situation is people always want to talk about the violence that we have here, but not even understanding the reason that we have the violence that we have in this city, right? So imagine that your schools closed, and the police told the mayor flat out, if you close these schools, you are forcing these children to walk through gang territory to get to school. Therefore, the violence will increase. Apparently that fool didn't listen, and here we are today. So what happened when a lot of the schools were closed is that the way that a lot of the neighborhoods are set up is that you don't just have a basic section of like this gang's here, this gang's here. Like there are literally blocks that are like next to each other that like you cross the street and you're in the wrong damn territory. So what happened was a lot of kids just stopped going to school because they feared for their lives. a lot of kids just, and a lot of parents, yeah, and a lot of parents also are homeschooling their kids now. That's what happened. They have no track on how many kids. They have no track. I mean, zero track of how many kids that left those schools are actually in school now. Their money is going to charter schools that are owned by rich hedge fund people like Betsy DeVos. Absolutely. And here comes with the charter schools, which is really tricky. So when it comes to the charter schools basically they have taken the place of the neighborhood schools, and they're supposed to be better and all that BS, right? So when I was with City Year, our school that we had was a charter school. When I tell you we had kids that hadn't eaten in a couple of days, and we also had kids that were friends with Sasha and Malia. Those who don't know, that's President Barack and First Lady Michelle's daughters in the same class. So it was just really, really, it was insane. We even had Louis Farrakhan's grandson in our class. And that was insane because they wouldn't pay for him to get freaking glasses, which drove me nuts. But like, seriously, you come up here every day with a different car, and you can't pay for this child to have glasses in 3 different spaces because he keeps losing them? Whatever. But the problem is there's a lot of money that goes into the charter schools, but what happens is the teachers that are in those charter schools get screwed over because there's no union for them. So I think they might have just formed some sort of a union, but they weren't allowed to unionize for a very, very long time. And so they're working crazy hours and not getting their overtime because they have the bodies who can speak for them to get them out of this mess. So it is an absolute crazy mess in Chicago. Now, the reason I wanted to speak on this today is because of the fact that my biggest problem with this whole situation is that people tend to forget. The issues that we have today are the same issues that we had when I was in school. I am 35 years old. Therefore, you've been having the same issues for 30 years, over 30 years, I'm sure, where you think that one counselor is okay for 1,000 plus students. You think that one nurse is okay, which then turns the teacher into the nurse, the counselor, and sometimes the mother. And so the mother or the father, you know what I'm saying, like at the same time. And what do you and then the thing is that what do you do when it's the staff that's having the issue, or you have the counselor is the issue? Who do you go to? We had an issue when I was in high school. Our counselor was horrible. I was like, how are you the one that's supposed to be directing us to do anything? You're telling us to quit school. What is wrong with you people? Like, I'm not understanding this. I'm so confused. I'm so confused by this situation. I'm so confused why we think that this is okay to do to people. So people want to know, like, and everybody wants to say, oh, well, the kids are the ones that are affected. No, this is teaching the kids that these people need to stand up for themselves. I say this now, and I wish I had done it back then. If I would have had the knowledge that I had, if I literally had been me 3 years later when I was in school, I would have walked out. Because I should have walked out because there was someone that was in that school that was harassing the students. And when I said something then, when nothing was done, I should have walked out. I would have staged a walkout. I walked out of that class, but I would have because I would have then had the organizing skills to do so. I would have staged a walkout. There were literally girls that were saying that they were afraid to go to gym class. They were afraid to go into the pool because they knew this person was looking at them and they were not comfortable. The amount of times that I heard this, and the fact that I told somebody and they said that because it was not happening to me that I could not say anything about it, is the problem that we have in these schools today. And you wonder why these kids are all jacked up. They have no support. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is why Sandusky was allowed to get away with it for as long as he was. Sandusky was allowed to get away with the mess that he did for as long as he did because his team was winning. When the teams are winning. The school does not give a damn what is going on with those students because they're so worried about the funding. They're so worried about the reputation. They don't care what's happening to those students until something happens where they get proof. Hey, Taylor, how are you? It is insanity. But I've seen it on multiple occasions. I've seen the way the jocks were treated. I've seen the way the jocks are still treated. Y'all want to? People want to know why would happen with the gymnastics happened so long? Because the kids were winning. Because the teams were winning. That's it. Had those girls start losing constantly, people would have asked some questions. But because those girls continuously were winning, they thought nothing was wrong. That's why I always ask my kids 1,000 questions, because I'm not for school system and they're corrupt as hell. Absolutely. And this is my advice to all parents. I do not have kids, but I have worked with children since I was 10 years old in some way, shape, or form, whether it be mentoring, whether it be tutoring. You can talk to any of the kids that I've mentored, and they will tell you that I was hard on them, but they knew that I loved them. They knew that I cared about them. That's why when I yelled at them and I told them to make sure that they were in line, when I came back, they all gave me a hug, whether I yelled at them or not, because they knew that I did that because I saw better. I knew that they could do better. People ask me if I wanted to be a teacher. I said, no, I don't like the system. And I don't like parents, because there were multiple kids that I worked with that I could see what was wrong with them, and their problem was they had no attention at home, so they acted out, but they were incredibly smart. Not only were they incredibly smart, they were incredibly creative, and that's what the issue was. It's bad enough that they have the school shooting drills. Here's the thing with the school shootings, a lot of people don't realize. The reason that the school shootings are even occurring is because the fact that usually when it gets to the fact of being a school shooting, there was some time before that a teacher missed. There was some time before that a teacher or principal missed. I'm telling you for a fact. There was something that happened before that was ignored for it to get to that point. You know what you mean? I see some young adults that tutored. I'm so proud of them. Absolutely. I'm so proud of all the kids that I've worked with, because I've gone back and I've seen them. It was so funny. I did when we were at City Year, we had this thing called PT, which is like physical fitness or whatever, like nothing super, super heavy. But I was very, very strict on my team specifically. It was like 6 kids. I was very, very strict on making sure that not only were their moves right, but they had their energy. They made sure they had their shirts tucked in. All of this, I was very strict on them because I was like, y'all ain't gonna be sloppy out here. Y'all ain't gonna make me look bad. So I went back to visit a year later, and every single one kid that I worked with was on point. The other kids weren't, because they wasn't paying attention to it. But my kids were all on point. I was like, look at y'all. They were sitting there leading PT. It was beautiful. But that's because I was strict with them. I was strict with them for a reason, because I knew that they could do it. And they might have had doubts, but I knew for a fact that they could do it, and they were going to get it done. And that's exactly what they did. It's crazy to me that people don't understand the importance that teachers have. I would not be the person that I am if it wasn't for some of the teachers that I worked with, because they instilled into us the importance of being creative, the importance of being ourselves. Now, mind you, there are teachers too that should have never worked with children because of the way that they decided to treat us. Case in point, my very first experience when I learned that the school system was BS, I was 8 years old. Oh Lordy, I've touched on this story for a couple people, but I haven't gotten all the way into it. So we were doing art. We were doing an art project. It was Thanksgiving. Y'all know where this is going. I asked specifically. I said, "Hey, I want to draw a black. I want to color my pilgrim black." My art teachers proceeded to tell me that there were no black pilgrims. Now, mind you, I come from a family full of activists. I came home. I came home and I talked to my mom, and she was like, "Well, technically, the Black Pilgrims were underneath the ship," and I was like, "What?" So I got to learn about slavery at 8. When I tell you she was not happy because she had to explain that to me at that time, she went back to the school and told them that how dare you not allow my child to just put the color brown on her pilgrim. Now I have to explain to her what slavery is. Thank you very much. And basically she said that I would never look at their white faces the same again. My mom was Koji. Like I don't think you understand. She was that was the first time that she really had to go in and kind of let these people know. The first day of my class professor told us if we thought we were going to make money to leave. I didn't get hurt until I dug deep into school systems. It's hard to fire teachers off. It is. And that's the problem too. Like when you get to a certain level, there's this thing called tenure. So it's a lot harder it's easier to fire teachers. It's a lot harder to fire professors. It's a lot harder to fire professors because they have tenure, which means they basically can do what they want for unless they get like in serious trouble. But what I'm saying is that like a lot of these teachers should have been fired a long time ago. We had teachers we had this one sub that just thought that it was okay to call us stupid, and I said, "What?" Child, the amount of teachers that I've had to walk out on, damn near cuss out, like people don't understand. I mean, I failed gym in high school because of this teacher. Hey, food junkie, hi! First time on the show was good. Yes, I failed gym, and for a while I was kind of ashamed of it, but now I'm like, wait a minute, I failed gym because I didn't want to be harassed by my teacher. What the hell am I thinking? Like I said, if I had the thinking that I had when I was 19, if I had just had that thinking 3 years earlier, oh, I could have saved myself so much trouble. But again, I didn't realize at the time the power of my voice as well. I think what's going on with a lot of these students, a lot of these kids, period, is that there's still this mentality of kids should be seen and not heard, and that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This is why we had this problem. This whole message of kids should be seen and not heard is a big, big problem because it forces these kids to feel like they're not worthy. And what's the point of me even having a conversation? What's the point of me even speaking up? They're not going to listen anyways. If there are any kids that come across this broadcast, I am telling you right now, you have the most powerful voice in the world on social media. Please use it properly. Because the tired of all this craziness going viral and the stuff that needs to go viral does not. You all know for a fact when you speak up, people get mad because they see that you are finally realizing your power. When you realize who you are and what you can do, because you know way more than a lot of these older people about how this stuff works, and you know the power of it, and when they realize that they get scared. Everyone, especially children, need a voice. Absolutely. Children need a voice. Kids are not stupid. I don't care how old they are. They understand very well. The reason that I have a 12-year-old goddaughter who speaks 3 languages, she speaks English, Spanish, and Latin, because she paid attention when she was a kid. Hey, hello, sexy Harlem, how are you? She paid attention when she was a kid. We started speaking, her family made sure to speak Spanish to her when she was little. And she is Sicilian and Mexican. You will be seeing her. I told her like 3 years I'll have her work with me, so we can make sure that because she's beginning to be a content creator already. So I told her when she turns 15, absolutely, so true. Believe in yourself, most definitely. You have to believe in yourself, but we have to get to the point where we're believing these kids. When these kids say something is wrong, this teacher did X, Y, Z, don't brush it off. Because that's what happens. They're like, oh, they just don't want to do the work or whatever. It's not always that. There are some times when the kids are lazy and they want to play video games all day. That is true. Your voice, right? Man, I was so proud. I was like, 3 languages? Okay, yes. Absolutely. But yeah, like it was a but that's because we were we were so strict with her. We were strict to her to this day. I'm looking at her Instagram, making sure that nothing's crazy popping up. We were really strict with her because we know what we went through as kids. We know when we were doing at 15, 16. So we tried. So we really, really tried to make sure that she could stay out of any of that, out of anything that would have even led her toward that for years. It's a little bit harder now because she's 12, but because of the way we brought her up, she's very, very political like me, which I love it. You being your child's biggest advocate, yes. If I can say one thing about my mom, that was the main thing that she did. If there was ever an issue, she did not hesitate to come up to the school. She even worked at the school for 2 years as a parent monitor. Back then I was like, this sucks, but now I'm thinking like that. I think that helped me a lot too, because there was nothing that was gonna go crazy because they knew that all they had to do was go downstairs to get my mom. I think what a lot of people don't realize is the power that saying no when you feel uncomfortable can be. Like I said, the power, how powerful that can be. Because there are multiple times that I was like, I will not do this. Perfect example. They wanted us to go see Amistad when I was in 7th or 8th grade. I can't remember. I think it was 8th grade. All I said was I wasn't going to see it. I said I can't do it. That does not. Hello, Ms. C. Divine. How are you? I said that I was not going to see it. I could not do it. I had heard about it. Yes, especially for little boys of color. Yes, they can get labeled as early as. Oh, I'm gonna get into that one too. I'm gonna get into the label 1 second because I actually have an example of that, which just pisses me off. I'll get into that in 1 second. Um, yeah. Actually, no. Let me get into. I'm gonna get into the label situation. Actually, let me get into that now because it actually goes into everything else that I was talking about. Perfect example. So I have a friend, Juan. He got labeled at the age of 6. They labeled him as BD, bad kid, whatever you want to call it. He is now 34. Yeah, 34, 35. That label stuck with him through high school. Even when he tried to get out of it, he couldn't. When you are labeled as when you are labeled as behavioral disability, it is incredibly hard to get out of. I think he got late. He was in like regular classes for like a year, and his mom put him right back into behavioral disability because she wanted to check. Like it was the saddest thing to see because I knew what his potential was. My family, that family. My mom used to babysit him for God's sake. We knew what this kid's potential was, and the fact that they just saw him and saw that he was a little hyperactive, they just constantly put him in behavioral disability. Hello, Felicia Fee, how are you? And that's where he ended up. And that led to him getting in trouble with the law, messing with crazy girls, getting them pregnant, all of this. Because because he was labeled. And when people tried to show how they believed in him, it didn't even matter because that label stuck with him all the way through high school. Now you didn't see my child on here. But yes, exactly. Your son you are so awesome with your son. Like you can tell he's gonna be this just creative, inspiring, like awesome kid. Like when he gets to be like 15, he's gonna be a rocket. He's already gonna have his first business, if not second, right? Between content creation and and catering and all that, whatever one he wants, he can do both. He's gonna have one of 2 businesses, no question. By the time he's 15, watch. I already know this. I know it's for a fact. Exactly. Those labels stick. And yes, Girls get it too, but slightly older than the boys. My parents have to be on point with boys early. Yes. Hey, hello, Carolyn. How are you? You have to be on point with these kids early. You really, really do. But you have to tell. You have to be able to tell these teachers no, tell these schools no. Oh, back to the whole Amistad situation. So I said I wasn't going, and my mom's like, "I'm sorry, your class is going to see an R-rated movie, and y'all are how old? Oh, this is not gonna happen." So she said you can take those kids to go see the y'all. You can take those kids to go see the R-rated movie if you want to, but I'm gonna tell the media about it. And she had media contacts, and they knew this already. So nobody went to go see that movie because she was like, why would you want to traumatize these kids? This is an R-rated movie, and you're showing this to children. I think not. It took a lot out of his eyes. Mm. And that's what they said. She said they took the light out of his eye. I need people to understand a child's innocence is so precious. I was at a friend's birthday. I was at my best friend's little sister. I was at her baby shower. They corrupt these babies early. There were all these little kids there, and I'm literally looking like I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, and I just want to go into a black event for a child for once and hear some freaking Baby Shark or Kids Bop because I get it, the fact that we're doing this for the adults, but you're doing it for the kids for the most part, and they shouldn't even know who half of these artists are. There's all the swearing and the music. And I'm just like, there is a whole channel that has kids friendly music. And could you find the edited version? Like, I'm just like, seriously, you guys are correcting these kids so young, and for what? I get it that you want to relive your youth and yada yada yada, but these are babies. These kids are like 3-4 years old that are sitting there. No. When I was watching my friends' kids, we watched whatever they wanted to watch. It was all about the kids. It was all about the kids. It was all about the kids, and the kids are creative. The kids are watching all the shows, like, and I guess kids are watching other shows that are built where they're building and they're doing this. And I'm like, these kids gonna be, oh my goodness, yes, this is serious. Yeah, you had to tell your the schools. My daughter will be appropriate, but you will not break her spirit. Oh my! Hold on, let me go. Let me go back. Mature said, "This is so serious. I had to tell my schools my daughter will be appropriate, but you will not break her spirit. On my life, you won't do that." Can you duplicate yourself and turn yourself into all these parents that need to hear this? Because the amounts of, because I'm seeing way too many news articles where there are parents that have dealt that are dealing with that are dealing with this racism issue. Hello, Lady D, how are you? So that are dealing with the racism issue all wrong. If your child comes home and tells you that their teacher is racist, you might want to go ahead and just go in the classroom and see. They're not kids aren't just saying stuff just to say stuff. Like, I'm still trying to understand. There was a school in Chicago that went to I think it was supposed to be a play in the suburbs, and the play was depicting slavery, and the black kids was like in chains and shit. Like, okay, I'm not we are way too polite when it comes to the situation. I know for me, church, Leo said I went through hell, but years later it's been great. I found the perfect fit school that gave a damn. Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, your son is so sweet and polite. Like, I can't even imagine, but I've heard that people think that it's okay to label black students really early. Like, that's what I've heard for sure. And that's the saddest part. That's the saddest thing. That's the saddest thing to watch that in the way that they treat our black boys to this day is a problem. That's why, and but we have to get to the point where we don't allow it, right? We have to get to the point where when we hear that, we say, "Nah, that's not going to happen. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. My young black king is not going to do XYZ. I'm not going to give him medication first so he can calm down because he has a little bit more energy than the rest of the kids. Let's give him a project that he can work on. The biggest problem that we have right now is that they've taken music and art out of the schools. That's the biggest problem that we have right now. Is the fact that they've taken music and art out of the schools. They've taken the creativity away from these students, so now they have nothing to do. They're stressed out, they're frustrated, and they have no way to exclude that energy. But everybody wants to say, oh, these kids are bad. No, these kids are bored. And then everyone will say, oh, well, school isn't for entertainment. But at the same token, they're not supposed to just sit there and look at the freaking wall. Like, you need to allow these kids to be creative, and that's the issue. Trust, I understand, and it's a shame. You're dealing with the same things I dealt with my child is your age, and my son is his son is 5. She's already staying up on the newscast, fighting out loud. Proud of him. Absolutely. That's the difference. At home, he was at peace, well-mannered. At the charter school, when he was 3 or 4, he fought continuously. You knew something was wrong. Absolutely. Seriously, they still have choir and sports, but here our classes are done. I can say this. I don't even know where I would be if I didn't have arts when I was in school. Because I wasn't, my mom always said I was exceptional at everything else, but I was an average student. Period, point blank. That's very clear. I was in theater. I was in music. I grew up in Chicago Children's Choir. At the Chicago Children's Choir for 5 years. I did dance heavy for 10 years, traveling around the Midwest with my mom and a couple of the dancers, a couple of family members that were part of the class. And then mom she taught free classes for the youth as well. Hello, Ann Quinice. How are you? Wait. Is it Ann Quinice? Let me know. Hello, Ms. Johnson, if I'm mispronouncing. That's a beautiful name, though. Just to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Our classes, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no idea what I would have done. Like I said, but I had a horrible art teacher, but I still, it's funny because I had a horrible art teacher, but now what am I doing? I'm working in fashion. Hilarious, right? Hilarious. Yeah, I'm working with a production company. Even funnier. You would think after everything that I've been through, you would definitely not think that I'll be doing with what I'm doing now, because I shied away from it. I shied away from being in entertainment and all of that for 13 years. Nisi, oh shit! What? Hey, yo, what's good? Okay, so if you, it's my fabulous hairstylist. OMG! Oh my god, you look so pretty. I can't even your avatar is amazing. My goodness. So Nisi, make sure you guys subscribe to this amazing queen. She will be having content very, very soon. So this is my phenomenal hairstylist, makeup artist. Yeah, she is amazing. Make sure you follow her. If you need to book her, I need to put your I'll make sure that you guys get her contact information as well. If you need to book her out of the state, she does travel. So yes. She is fabulous. I love her. We work on so many phenomenal projects together. We just finished a really dope project. Shout out to Mike Davis. Shout out to Michelle Fox. Like, we just did some really, really dope stuff at Rockstar Studio. So yes. Of course, girl. Yes. Sorry, I always get that way with the people that I know, and I've worked with, and I know their work, and I know their value and what they do, and their energy is just off the chain. Arts in the school, yeah, are here, but it's but here it's like for 5 different schools, but no time vested for the student, and that's the problem too. So back to the whole reason we have this issue, we are having this issue when it comes to the CPS strike, is we don't have enough teaching support. We don't really have enough teachers. Let's start there, because one teacher should not be working with 40 kids, and in some cases that's actually happening, which is insane. But there are some schools where they might have an assistant, possibly, and when they have an assistant, it's a temporary assistant. Is that it's usually not for the whole year. It's usually like somebody that's trying to work on a teaching degree or whatever. So they're there for a little bit of time. So they're not even there to support the entire time. Guys, I had a chance to do a lot, but my anger and fighting definitely stopped a lot when you grow up being taught those things. You don't see a problem until you get older. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, for me, it was like arts. The arts was my refuge. That's what kept me from like not snapping. That's what kept me from wanting to be. That's why I wanted to be in school, because I wanted to make sure that I could go to choir and go, dance. There was no question because my mom was a teacher. So that's what I did when I was at home. But doing choir and doing theater, and when I was in choir, it was Chicago Children's Choir is interesting because they broke a lot of child labor laws. I hope they fix that part. But the experience that we got when it came to like being able to sing in multiple languages, I just learned that we learned to sing in like 30 different languages. Can I speak any of those except for Spanish right now? No. But the fact that I was able to sing in 30 languages, yes. Being an advanced dancer saved me. Yeah. Because you get to take all the energy and put it somewhere. But now, like they want to get to the point where they don't even want these kids to have recess. So they can't even run around at all. Like it is insane. You expect these kids to sit there sit there and listen for 8 hours straight. Are you nuts? No, that's not okay. These kids have this energy that needs to run off so they can not be robots. That's why they have all these kids now sitting here and they can't even have basic conversations because their face is like this all day. So they get into an actual meeting and they don't know what to do. They're sitting up there writing emails like text messages, writing their actual papers like texts. I've seen it. I have friends that are teachers. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Somebody just write the number 4 for the word for. Are you kidding me? But the people everyone wants to blame the teachers. Oh, this is the teacher's fault. It's the teacher's fault. No, it's not. Teachers can only do so much. They need support from the school system and from the parents as well. Perfect example, when it comes to like different meetings for the schools and whatnot, count how many parents come. But those same parents will complain once the decision is made and they're rolling out what's going on, but they refuse to come to the meeting that was talking about the issue that was talking about what just got rolled out. There was like 6 meetings that they missed. But when the platform gets rolled out, when the program gets rolled out, everyone wants to come to that meeting and they complain because they didn't come to the other 6. Whose fault is that? Now, mind you, there are some shady people that will sit up there and only call the meeting so they can tell you what's going on and not actually have the planning meetings. But there are also some structures that have multiple meetings that parents just did not come to, and they wonder why their kid was left out of XYZ. Well, you weren't in the planning process. Definitely. I'm actually trying to start a program in an elementary school, and at the moment, I can't. I'm waiting for our mayor to give us these great inspires the demand. Yeah. And it's interesting because we just got a new mayor, and it's and Lori Lightfoot has definitely made some promises, and I hope she keeps at least one of them. That'd be great. That would put her above all the other ones. So if she can at least keep one, I'd be like, all right, cool. She seems like she is going in the right direction on some fronts in terms of like helping out with the youth unemployment and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, we'll see. Only time will tell. I already knew Mayor the empty chair wasn't going to do nothing. That I knew for a fact because of the reason I even called that for the empty chairs, because when I was working, when I was doing a lot of advocacy work, we had a lot of meetings that involved politicians, and they'd read off the name of every politician that came in the room. And every single time his name came up, he was never there. Never. Only reason I met this fool was because I was singing with HHW, shout out to After School Matters, and we were opening our students' new multiple outlets, both in and outside schools, to express themselves and their creativity. Absolutely. So we were singing at the opening of Maggie Daly Park, and Maggie Daly, rest in peace, because she did something when it came to youth. When it came to youth programs, she definitely was on point with that. I don't know what her husband was doing, but she definitely was on point. She actually did care about the kids that were in the city. And so we were singing there, and this fool came up to us with 3 cameras in our face, and we had our uniform for After School Matters on. That's what saved him, and he knew that, because otherwise I wouldn't have said hi to him. I was like, he came to shake our hand and all that stuff. I'm just like, first of all, he's short. Let's start there. He's like 5. He was 5'4", something like that. He was tiny. I was just like, dude, no, 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 I cannot. That was the only time I met him. And again, I've been in politics since I was 19. I just met him like 3 years ago, something like that. It's crazy. It's insanity. But we have, like, so we have to get to the point where we understand the importance of the voice of the students and the teachers. Because this is happening right now because nobody fixed it when they should have. They didn't fix we had a couple strikes when I was in school, but it didn't last that long because the teachers folded quickly. These teachers are sick of it. Imagine 30 years of the same mess. And the mentality of these kids isn't getting any better. And I've already broken down. And man, Nisi can tell you for real. Nisi has been through CPS as well, so she can tell you the mess that we've gone through when it comes to these schools, and the fact that they have one counselor. You have a part-time art teacher, a part-time music teacher, so you might see them once a week if you're lucky, right? Now, anybody that's in music and art knows you can't complete a project that way. It takes forever to complete some projects, and you can't build relationships that way either. Hello, Leandris, how are you? So it's like, wait a minute, what? You have very, very little support. Now imagine if somebody's trying to complete a project, or if someone's, wanting to work on something for music and they can't contact this person for a whole week. Again, like I said, the internet changed a little bit. The internet changed a lot when it comes to networking, but for little kids, that doesn't work. Hello, Nixie Nix, how are you? The internet's changed a lot when it comes to networking for sure. Like I said, for little kids, that doesn't matter because these kids can't use these platforms until they're like 13, 14. And by then, if they have not had the proper education, if they have not had the proper support, by the time they're 13 to 14, they're damaged. So going back to City Year. Hold on one second. Hey, let me call right back up on live. All right, back. That's Erica Porter, MBA. Make sure you guys follow her at Erica Porter, MBA. She's amazing. Now she's a content creator, television producer. She's just the bomb.com. Nisa, you definitely need to meet Erica because she is awesome and she will absolutely love you. Her energy is so, so beautiful. And she is responsible for working with some of the dopest shows in the country that you guys have seen. But when it comes to City Year, and part of the reason why I stopped, I'm a City Year alumni, America alumni all day long at the same token. Yes, Nixie. Thank you for everybody that's coming in the room. Shout out to all of y'all. If you have not done so, please hit the like button. And if you're able to share, please do so. Yes, when it comes to City Year, what's really crazy is the fact that, so when I was part of it, which was 08 to 09, we went to, I was at NKO, and I had second graders during the day and third through fifth graders in the afternoon. It was so funny because when I first got to the school, the first day that I got there, they're like, now, mind you, our job was to tutor these kids. They're a little bit behind in school. They just want us to tutor them, and get them up to as close to their level as possible. When I tell you, when they read out the names of my children, they laughed because they said they're too far behind. They're too far behind to even hit the mark at all or come close to the mark. I was teaching second graders, and I had kids that were reading at kindergarten level. And so well, not like we don't actually expect you to, get these kids to level. We'll see what happens. We had the program for 8 months. In 8 months, 5 out of my 6 kids not only were at their level, they were above their level. Because I was determined to make sure that hey, KK Love, how are you, Queen? Because I was determined to make sure, because these were all Black kids that I had, I was determined to make sure that they were going to go on to the next grade if I was working with them. When I say this was the hardest 8 months, or what I thought was one of the hardest 8 months I've dealt with in terms of just work and now, mind you, when you're doing now, not only do we have to tutor the kids, but we still have projects that we have to complete for city year. We still got to do PT. We still have to go and do projects for CTA that we're not getting paid for. All of this on top of tutoring these kids. And mind you, this is a AmeriCorps program, so the money you get is you are doing it for the children or you are not doing it at all. Because the money we got, if I actually added the hours up, Lord, that was slavery prices. But again, this is for the kids, and then we knew exactly what we were doing. We knew what we were doing. We knew what we signed up for. We knew that the whole thing was about. It was a living stipend, quote unquote, and it was all about supporting these kids, right? So 5 out of my 6 kids were able to, and the only reason my 6th kid didn't make his mark is because he decided to be a jackass in the last month. I was like, seriously? He was doing so well until the last month and he just completely fell off, and it is what it is. But the fact that I got 5 out of my 6 kids to 3rd grade level from kindergarten level, I'm damn proud of myself for that. And our entire core, our group specifically, we actually got we had best school partnership because mind you, at this time we had an incredibly small group, and we had somebody that had gotten fired like a month before we got there, and he was the only one that had the partnership with the school. So we had to rebuild the relationship with the school, rebuild the trust with the school, and work with all these kids with 6 people, and sometimes 5. And then we had somebody who actually had to get surgery, so she was out for a while. So we would be having 4 and 5 and 6 people working with all of these classes. But all of our kids got over at least one of the humps. They might not have all hit it, but they at least got very close. But do you know what the funny? I say this to say that to say this. After all the work we did and all the sacrifices we made, 2 years later they stopped the program at that school. 2 years later, now they stopped the program at that school. They decided they didn't want little kids anymore. They wanted to focus on preteens. They wanted to focus on kids that were 12 and up. Now, mind you, the program for the teachers starts at 18. I have not worked in a school in a very, very long time. I haven't even considered working in CPS schools at this point because it's such a headache. I mean, I would potentially like on a part-time basis, but I have to get paid more than I was then because it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with when it comes to CPS, and their whole policies are just crazy. But what's so crazy is that, like I said, they discontinued the program in the grammar schools, and they decided to work with just the junior highs. Now, mind you, junior high usually starts about 12, 13 years old. If you are trying to, and then their whole thing was, their whole shtick was reducing the dropout rate. Reducing the dropout rate, and you working with 12 to 13-year-olds. If you have not talked to a child before the age of 12, they're not completely lost, but it's a lot harder to change their mind. So I think maybe 2 years after that, they finally realized that this was not the way, because because essentially what they had done was they had turned the city year whatever to online. Absolutely, absolutely, I would to online, most definitely. Um, because that's dealing with private people. You know that you're dealing with students. What would be your advice on starting this program with CPS? Um, what kind of program are you trying to start? I think that's the best way to go about it, because because I would say look into the organizations that are already working with CPS and see if you can connect with them. Honestly, because there are organizations that have been working with CPS for years, and they would be able to direct you better. For you, I would actually think I would look into working for at least for you. I would actually say work with After School Matters, because they pay really well, and I think you would be really good at as terms of just like self-esteem and all of that for the girls. And like especially like if you want to choose like a makeup class, I think you would be phenomenal at that. And they would actually take care of like all of that, what your supplies is and everything, because they have the money for that. Because like I said, people could talk about Daily all day, but his wife is on point, so they have the money to be able to take care of that. They have a need for that. I would go down to, because guys are 7 / After School Matters. I would look into working with them. I mean, like the biggest thing when it comes to CPS, and when it comes to all the different programs, I say don't reinvent the wheel. Go with what's already there. Go with what's been working, and what's actually producing results. What I like about After School Matters is that they actually pay the kids to be there, so you can fire them if they don't do what they need to do. Um, and it holds weight a little bit more when you can say, okay, great, you didn't come to work. Okay, great, you can go ahead and lose your job right now, because I've given you this many chances and you did not comply with what you're supposed to do. So now you get to figure out what the real world's like at 15. Have fun. Um, and a lot of them and a lot of the kids, when they get to that point, they understand what they did wrong, and they either change or they don't. And a lot of the kids that don't change will come back later on and try it again. I actually was teaching jury making at a Boys and Girls Club, and I had some kids that I had to kick out the program because they weren't paying attention. I'm like, if I'm not having fun, then this ain't gonna work. I absolutely will, for sure. We'll definitely. You have a number, Leo. Definitely hit me up. Let me know. Um, but I think for me, that the dopest part about what I did was I was able to help to start the process of kids entrepreneurship, and that's what they were afraid of. I had one little girl, Evelyn. She seems so super quiet and so chill, but you put some bead and some wire in that girl's hand, and she's a beast. And I was so proud, because I remember when she first started, and except she's a tiny little Latina girl, just the sweetest thing ever. And she's very, very shy. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, definitely, definitely reach out to After School Matters. I might have a contact. Let me actually, no, take that back. Mikey has a contact with ASM. Hit him up. Mikey definitely has a contact with ASM, because he used to work there. So tell them so just ask them like what they need in terms of like the programming and all that. And I think you'd be really, really good working with them, like really good, because your energy's off the chain. Like I told you that when I first met you, your energy is amazing. I can't wait till you start your channel, child. Baby, I'm gonna tell you, when you start her channel, it's a wrap, because her energy is so phenomenal, and you see her working, you're just like, well, damn, okay. Just a beautiful spirit. And you would inspire so many young girls, especially so many young Black girls, um, to just want to be better, not just be a dope makeup artist or be a dope hairstylist, but just be better, period. Because you just exude this power and energy, and just the way you speak, and you just light up a room. They wouldn't accept it. Oh, okay. So when I was with the Boys and Girls Club, that was literally like what happened with that was I had a friend that was working there, and she was like, "Hey, come in and just do a class with the kids or whatever, just to try it out." So I tried it out. They liked it, and they hired me after a couple of years. But then they shut the program down because what happened was the focus became sports. So, and that's the problem too, is that when it comes to like CPS and just in other schools in general, the focus becomes sports and not art. And so when that happens, that hinders a lot of people because everyone can't play sports. Now, mind you, I now work with a sports company, so it's funny coming from me. But again, I've said this on multiple occasions. The reason that I got absolutely yes, the reason that I got involved with Lifetime Sports is specifically because of the fact that the entire mission started around saving the lives of players because the owner Candy Kana had been talking about how she kept on getting or hearing stories about players that have either attempted or committed suicide, and she wanted to do something about it, and that's what made me jump on board because typically I'm not involved in sports outside of dance, which some consider sports, some don't, whatever. As much work as that was, damn it, that's a sports shoot. So that's a lot of work to be a dancer. It's a lot of work to be a trained dancer and to be a quality dancer. I just say quality dancer because some of these dances I'm just like, why are you getting paid to do this? Because no, this is unacceptable. But it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard road when you want to get into the arts, and you really do have to network and build relationships, and that's like for real, that's what it is. When it like honestly, when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to the arts, period, it's all about relationships. That's what gets you your jobs. That's what gets you paid is those relationships that you build. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. It doesn't matter how much schooling you have. If you don't have relationships, you're not getting that job, period, point blank. You're just not. And a lot of people don't understand that and for some reason don't realize that. But when you do have those relationships, they can take you across the world, literally. I've traveled across the country because of the relationships that I have. I'm frequently going back and forth to Vegas because of relationships that I've built because I've helped to produce programs that have produced results. Now we talk about measuring the success of the program. I guess when I was doing the only problem that when I was doing the program with City Year, there was no question about what the results were. Again, we had the numbers spoke for themselves, and there was no reason for them to discontinue it. Continue the program other than the fact that they were mad because of the results. That's what happens. So what happens here in Chicago a lot is if an anti-violence program or community program is successful and it's not funded by the city, they want to discontinue it because they do not have control over it. They do not have control over the people that are in the program, so therefore it does not matter to them, and they want to kill that program. Perfect example is what happened with Jobs for Youth. Jobs for Youth was around for 32 years, I want to say. And Jobs for Youth was an incredibly amazing, I mean amazing program that helped some kids that were impoverished be able to get into jobs where they were making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year at 18 years old. All they had to do was go through a resume program for like a week, and they were getting connected with companies where they were starting out at 40 to 50K. And oh no, we can't have that. We're young, successful African Americans. What? Can't have that in Chicago now. Right? Yeah. Jobs for Youth, yeah. Jobs for Youth has some dope programs. And if you had a kid already, oh man, you were getting bank. That's the one problem that I had is I didn't have a child, so I wasn't able to get into some of those different programs that they have. But it was all good. I mean, I built some amazing relationships. I got some of my first clients from JFY, and I still talk to some of the people to this day. But like I said, it literally is all about relationships. That's how things grow. That's how I mean, perfect example, Michelle. Like Michelle is a model that does not live here. Michelle can't like we had talked, she had been trying to book a photo shoot at Rockstar for a minute, and I was like, well, I'm like, okay, we got the dance workshop. Do you want to come out? Yada yada yada. She comes out. I'm gonna just I'm not gonna say exactly what TV show, but I'm gonna just say you're gonna see her on TV very soon. Because she came up to a workshop, came from out of state because she just wanted to try something different. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. I think that's the biggest thing. I know for me, like it's funny. Um, for me, like I totally was not like a camera person back in the day, and I had forgotten before that like when I was doing Periscope, I was doing Periscope 2 to 3 times a day. Not doing that out here, but we were doing Periscope like crazy. And I remember just being, nervous when I first scoped or whatever, and I wasn't comfortable on camera when I first started. Yep. Yes, shout out to Fox. Yes, shout out to Sheldon Fox. That girl is on point. Yeah, shout out to all my amazing Live Out Loud charity models. They are incredible in what and they do not look what they have been through. I do not think I understand the power of that organization and the power um, of positivity and growth and confidence and instilling confidence in someone and what that can do for someone's soul. That's what people don't forget is what that can do with so when you instill confidence in someone and you can see their self-esteem rising and you can physically see this, the feeling that you get from that is like no other high because you are able to see a change in someone's life, and that is amazing. And I am blessed to know that I have there are multiple models that I have worked with in this past 5 years, um, who have speaking of, she just shared with her post. I love her. She's so sweet. Oh my god. Um, in the past 5 years, who I have seen their whole lives change because I put them on stage, and they will tell you that themselves. I have a model, Chastity Spencer. I give this example all the time because this girl is 5'4", possibly. And I remember when I was at a casting call, and I saw her, and there was something about her, and I was like, if this girl can walk, if this girl can walk, I'm gonna take her. It was my first fashion show with LLC, and I was like, all right, this girl can walk. I'm grabbing her. Forget it. And she could walk, and she is amazing. And she came up to me, and she was like, and without even knowing she was in the show, she was sharing my stuff out. We had connected on social media. Um, and now she has been booked nationally as a model, commercial model. She's in calendars. She's on billboards. Like she's doing the daggone thing. But before this, no one would put her on a runway. I chose her as my closing model because she's absolutely gorgeous. And she just has amazing spirit. And she was like, I remember she came to me, she was like, I've been practicing, I'm kind of nervous. I've been practicing. I don't think I can do this. I haven't even get that girl, but like, I haven't even booked her in like 3 years because she's just been doing so many things. I'm so, so, so proud of her. She just graduated in the summer um, from now she is a sign language interpreter. And she actually works for CPS, which is funny. We were talking about CPS, but she actually works for CPS as a sign language interpreter. But she will tell you all day long that had I not put her on that runway, she wouldn't have these opportunities. But that's what I do. I support people that most people wouldn't think to do so because I see something in people that everyone doesn't see all the time or automatically. But again, that's what I was taught. That's how I was raised to support independent and local artists. That's artists, so I don't know what else to be. I don't know how else to be. I take the same way that I am online, I am offline. Nisi, it works with me enough times. She can tell you the same thing. Hello, Demetria. How are you? Um, okay, so I mean, I think like here's the thing. Like, I mean, and people say like, "Oh, I'm tired of watching XYZ." The way that you fix that is to change the narrative. You change what you're right. Positive vibes, yes, yes, yes. Like I said, if you haven't already done so, make sure you guys grab up Miss Johnson and Quanice. She is awesome, 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 and her work is phenomenal. Such a beautiful spirit, and her channel going to be off the chain. Hey, Zarina, how are you? You know, but it's all about. Oh, thank you, Taylor. Thank you, thank you. But like I said, but the whole thing is it's about supporting one another. And Demetria had this whole thing. It's like, well, I'm so tired of the mess or whatever. Okay, I get. Like, here's my thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize we all have our own channels. You choose to promote what you want to promote on your channel. That's why it's called YouTube, because it's all about you and what you want to do on your channel. You have the choice to watch whatever you want to watch. You have the choice to promote whatever you want to promote. You have the choice to change the narrative. What you do not want to do is tell people what to do on their own channel. That's where the problem gets in. You have it is called YouTube, not my tube, not their tube, but YouTube. It is about what you want to do on your channel. No one has the right to tell you what you want to do on your channel. What you also need to people need to stop doing is lying on people, but that's a whole nother conversation. But you have the choice to promote what you want to promote on your own channel. You are an individual. You can choose to watch the mess or you can choose to not. There are billions of people on here. You are not stuck anywhere. No one is holding a gun to your head. Turn the channel off. If you need to go and find some kittens or puppies, go do that. There are ways to get away from it. Again, there are other platforms. YouTube is not the only platform in the century. Like on the planet. I'm sorry. YouTube is a fairly new platform when it comes to live streaming. I said this in someone else's live. Periscope was the one that really popped first. Periscope is the reason that we have Facebook Live because Mark Zuckerberg was not going to be outdone. And then YouTube came along. And when YouTube came along, when it came to live streaming, I remember specifically because I was on Periscope. Somebody was playing with YouTube, and they could not get it together. Okay, so when YouTube streaming first started, they the biggest issue that they were having when it comes to everything was what was it? It was the speed. They couldn't get the speed together. They were like the chat was all jacked up. Like it was bad. So they had to figure it out and make it work. Things don't happen overnight. It took YouTube a few months to get their stuff together as well. It took Facebook a few months to get their stuff together. It took them a few months to figure some stuff out. It took Periscope a while to get it together. Periscope is not, and you can ask anyone who was on Periscope what the biggest problem with Periscope was, and I've said this on multiple occasions, and I hope YouTube does not do the same thing. The problem with Periscope was the fact that they did not respect their Black content creators, and they made that very clear at all of their conferences. Because what they did was they had these same Black content creators that were speaking, as opposed to not YouTube, right? YouTube, not beef tube. Absolutely right. But the thing is that, like, when it comes to beef, quote unquote, unquote, like that's everywhere. That's not just here. That's literally everywhere. We just don't see it at other places, and it's even worse in other places because they're sitting up there and they're not only taking flights, they're taking flights. They're busting out car windows. They're doing they're fighting on camera. Like this is what I've seen like clips of or whatever. They're actually fighting on camera. All this kinds of mess. This is all talking. These people sitting up there actually going to people's houses and busting windows out and sending things to people's houses and all that kind of stuff. It's a totally different deal. This is all stuff online, thank God, but it can get pretty crazy. So it's like this right here is it's kind of crazy, but it's not as bad as y'all think. But like I said, he won't talk about like, oh, I'm supposed to have the mess on here. Okay, that's great, but change the narrative. And then what that means is you support people that are talking about something different. If you have it, like, and if you have an issue with what somebody's talking about, then maybe and they're consistently starting mess, then maybe you don't want to watch them. Period, point blank. It's simple. This is a simple fix. These are social media platforms. You can turn them off anytime. the button you can log on off and keep it moving, or stay on your channel, or go to channels that make you happy. Like there are ways to go around all of this. You don't have to complain about it. You can just be like, oh, like I'm tired of it. Okay, cool. So when I get tired of it, what do? I have the man. What is it? Shout out to How to Cake It. Like I love that one. I was going on Leo's. I was going down her playlist. So Leo, the lightest queen, is the strawberry queen. I cannot wait to meet you in Vegas, girl. Okay, so Leo has these chocolate covered strawberries that she creates, and she has these dope videos. Like I saw. I was watching the one where she was doing the chocolate Oreos. I was watching the one where she was doing. I was in the live where she did like this amazing, I mean, badass holographic strawberry. I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, now mind you, this is non-toxic. This is not necessarily edible. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't even care, but if I could eat it, I want it because that is so pretty. Like it is just absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God, I can't wait to meet you. Your energy is off the chain, you know, and it's like, it's so dope to be able to see phenomenal people like that. Like I met Deanna, she's amazing in person. I actually got to do a live stream with her. That was so much fun. I met Dree, she's a phenomenal person. Like I already know that's off the chain. Like, you know, and these are all content creators that are doing dope things. These are just the content creators. Yes. Oh, thank you. You know what I mean? It's like I said, people can say what they want. And there have been issues that I've had on here, whatever, people lying, this, another thing. I don't even care because people that know me in real life know that's not true. So, I don't even focus on it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know, and it's like you have to get past all of that. You have to understand that it's so important to just get past it and let it go. Period. Point blank. Those strawberries are beautiful. Like. And she said she did like a chocolate shoe. Okay, I don't know if you can find a way. If you can find a way to do some kind of tutorial, hey Mia, how are you? If you can find a way to do some kind of tutorial with the chocolate shoe, so I can at least see that process. Oh my goodness, I already know that's gonna be gorgeous. Like I already know you are a chocolatier, mama, a chocolatier. Like I know how that's work. That is work. I'm like, I design jewelry, but love that chocolate, that's some work. Cause you have to have a steady hand for that. You have to have a steady hand for that. Cause some of those designs are so incredibly intricate and just absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. But that's the kind of stuff that I do. Like if I'm frustrated with whatever, I'll go ahead and watch a video like that because it's relaxing and it's fun. Why is everyone gonna call me now? Really? Oh, not important. If you have no name on your phone number, then obviously you are not important. We're not even having that conversation. That was the production company, because I know my client's supposed to call me in a little bit, but baby, you know, but that's what it is. Like that's how you avoid it. Like that's what like the saying like, oh, I'm tired of it. And what is on your channel? Like that's my thing. If you have an issue with what's going on here, what's on your channel? What are you doing to change the things? I'm not even worried about the views. If someone gifted her strawberries to me, I wouldn't want to eat them. They're so beautiful. You just want to stare at them, right? They are literally a work of art. Like, OMG. OMG, you are so right. You are so right. You know, and that's the thing. It's like there's just so many things, so many people that are out here. Like I said, there are so many channels that are out here that are doing dope stuff. Shout out to Think Dragon. Like he has this like amazing networking channel. I've gotten to connect with people from around the world, not just the country, but around the world. And these are dope ass content creator. Girl, Nisa, you definitely need to click on that. Click on Leo's profile. You can go ahead and follow her because she is super, 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 super dope. Her live streams are classic. Like she is amazing. Yes, she is a phenomenal content creator. You know, and it's just, but it's just crazy that people don't understand that this is YouTube. This is all about you and what you want to do and what you want to promote. You know, I kind of think that like the super chats kind of like not destroyed it, but it kind of did harm it. And I understand why they did it because YouTube. The reason that people don't understand the reason that super chats even started was because of the fact that content creators were complaining because they couldn't get monetized because YouTube does a lot of crazy mess when it comes to monetization, right? So like if you they're demonetizing a lot, and they're doing a lot of content creators, including the larger ones. Yes. Oh, child, is baby Leo. You have no idea. Leo, she understands. Trust me. Trust me, because we've had our own issues in Chicago, child. Um, but it's because even when you act up, girl, even when you act up, it's like, see, y'all don't push. Like, see, we told you not to push it. We warned you. We have warned you. You have been warned, and you still did it. Well, go ahead and get this work. But but when it comes to content creation, and the reason I say I'm like I really wasn't even on here like that was because, and I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a content creator. There's a big difference because I'm on more platforms than just YouTube. I have clients that I'm working for with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all of that, and so it's like so YouTube. I use YouTube as SEO and all that kind of stuff, but I was like, I want a community feed, so I can share stuff and all of that. And so I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and work for this 1,000. And then I was like, wait, how did I do this on Periscope? By being myself and networking the way that I've been doing for years. And I just forgot that for some strange reason. But it's been a lot that's been going on in this past year. So exactly. Authenticity is what helps you to grow. Authenticity is what is going to help you to grow. If you sit up here and you're acting all fake and this and the third, that doesn't do it. I've never been fake on any platform I've ever been on because there's no point. You even know me in real life. That's stupid. It's dumb for me to be like, well, hi guys, and the sky is blue and there are roses everywhere, and there are puppies and rainbows and kittens, and that's just not me. That's never been me. That never will be me. Now don't get it twisted. I love me some kittens, some puppies, and rainbows, but that's just not me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a content creator. I've been an advocate. I've spoken out against violence. I've spoken out against youth issues. I've spoken and made it very clear that housing is a human right and not a fucking luxury on multiple occasions to several politicians who are now out of office. This is funny. I've helped put politicians in office. I've helped to keep politicians in office as well. Like I'm not, I'm supportive and stuff on here, but at the same token, I also have my own voice. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, the whole crowd's doing this and I'm gonna do that. Nah, that's never been me ever. That never will be me, ever. If I think something's wrong, I'm so not right. Keep on their feet, absolutely right. If I think something's wrong, I'm not going with it. I'm not gonna go. Period. Point blank. No matter who it is. If something is wrong, I'm not going. I can't. My heart doesn't allow me to be that way. I can be cordial, but I ain't gonna be phony. There's a huge difference. Cordial means you have to be nice to somebody to get a check. That's when you're cordial. Being phony is just like, oh my God, it's so happy to see you. No, it's like, hi, all right, okay. We're done. We're done now. I can go. Okay. Like, period, point blank. That's how you gotta do it. That's the best way to be. Be honest, be cordial. That's where that trust factor comes in when it comes to live streaming. That's why live streaming is so important, because we already know the news lies to us on multiple occasions, on multiple platforms, because they edit a lot of things out. That's why a lot of news stations are using live streaming to try to combat some of that. But even then, you got to watch them because you got to see what are they not showing you. Hey, D. Ramsey, how are you? Because even when it comes to this whole CPS situation, they're not going to tell you everything. They're not going to tell you that these teachers are sitting up there and buying paper and buying pencil and having counseling sessions and picking kids up at all times of the night because the parents won't do it, and all these things and talking to these kids in the street. Don't even get me into what happened with C Spire and why C Spire can't have consistent funding. and what we've done when it comes to anti-violence in this city, but we want to scream that we care about violence so much and blah blah blah. Again, if you don't live here, if you've never been here, if you don't know if you don't know how it works here, please don't speak on it. There's no reason if you've never lived here, if you don't live here, it's not enough. You lived here before and you left. That's one thing. But if you've never lived here, you've never been here, there's no reason for you to speak on our city, because we've done a lot to try to grow and thrive here. Yes, our podcasting is being live streamed. Yep. Because the biggest majority of the viewers are interested in content and not beefs. Most people don't like confrontation, much less watch them. Absolutely. Yes, I definitely worked for them as well, and their extra programs fell to the wayside, literally. Yep. And that's the saddest part about it when it comes to when you worked for an organization and you've seen a program work and you've seen life change from that program, and then you listen to a politician say that it's not important or that it's quote unquote pork. It's the most heartbreaking thing in the world, because their quote unquote pork is affecting real lives. People want to question what's the big thing with doxing, right? I've heard that, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? When you dox somebody, you're affecting their life outside of social media. You're affecting their family's lives. Their family isn't on here. They didn't ask to be on here. Some of them don't even know don't even care. They hear about YouTube occasionally, but they don't know about this and have no clue that it gets to this point. You're bringing people into stuff that have nothing to do with it, and trying to harm their lives for what? It makes no sense. Like I said, I think it's funny because my dad's nowhere near social media. Like, he doesn't even have to send an email, so nobody can even find a way to contact him. That's the funny part. But there's some people that that they're looking to find the families and this and the third, and it doesn't even make sense. And they're looking to harm them or looking to. It's intrusive. It's incredibly intrusive. But like I said, doxing will get you hurt. Well, let's start there. Doxing will get you hurt, for real. And that's what people don't. That's what people don't realize. There's some people that don't play this, that are not playing this game. That's where their laws are getting more strict. Yep, when it comes to online bullying and harassment, the laws are getting so strict when it comes to online bullying and harassment because content creators are committing suicide. So doxing basically is when somebody puts your information out online that is not public, i.e. your family's name, your address, your personal phone number, all those kinds of things. And yes, that does happen. It has happened multiple times, which is insane. But it's incredibly intrusive because, like I said, what it does is it brings people in this situation that had nothing to do with it, that don't even do social media, that don't even care. And then you have to go back and explain to them, so good afternoon, Rack. Okay, how are you? So then what happens is that, hold on, check the time real quick. So I got it. Okay. So what happens then is that you have all these people that now are nervous about getting online and all that. And I'm just like, it shouldn't even be that big of a deal. It really, really shouldn't. But it has become, because people want to come to, want to actually put real addresses out there. Even if it's public information, if you bring it to the light to those who didn't know, that is still doxing. Absolutely. Very, very true. Because that's the whole thing now. Oh, but I found it on Google. No, that means that it was not given to you by the person who you whose privacy was invaded did not give it to you. Therefore, it's doxing. Period. Point blank. If the person whose privacy was invaded did not give it to you willingly, that is doxing. Period, point blank. Because it's just because you Googled it, that doesn't mean, that means you went, that means you searched for it, you had to look for it because it was not on their freaking profile. Period, point blank. That's it. I've seen content creators in other sectors have been doxxed, run programs in the background where they can see the trolls in the chats doing IP address. Ooh, damn. That's dangerous. They start running IP addresses. That's a huge problem. Because that, you're right, exactly right. Because if you find out, listen to what she said. She said, I've seen content creators in their sectors who have been doxxed run programs in the background where they can see the trolls in the chats doing IP addresses and real government names. Right. Now, here's the thing about your IP address. If you dox someone and they find out, and that person that is a tech-savvy person, they find out your IP address, that's your entire internet career. Not just your YouTube situation, but that's your internet part. That's your digital platform. It's a wrap. You have to get a whole new computer. You have to, like, if they find out what your IP address is and block that, that's a mess. That's bad. That's why you don't want to dox people, because some people are tech savvy and they can find out all of that. These trolls think they're so smart. They find out those IP addresses, that means you ain't getting nothing. Because they start finding out IP addresses, that means you have to have not even multiple accounts, you got to have multiple computers and phones and all of that. Perfect payback. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why you don't do it. That's why you don't do it, because it's not a good idea. Not a good idea. I mean, like a lot of companies, yep, right? Right, B. Like a lot, perfect example. Now, when it comes to some of these people, like, what was it? When there were all those white folks that was sitting there and just got mad because Black folks was existing, and they tagged and they figured out what companies they work for. Yeah, they deserve to lose their jobs because all they want to do is be evil and racist. That's a totally different situation. What? Hey, S. Hutchinson, how are you? Why haven't you heard of this before? Because I think like when it comes because you've done more as what's crazy is that I think doxing is that happens more when it comes to live streamers, not necessarily like Instagram and all that kind of stuff. It's not as heavy on there, but I think it really happens more in the live streaming community. That's what I can see. I know like Periscope, it was an issue. Facebook, it's kind of an issue, but it's not as Facebook isn't as much of an issue. What happens with Facebook is that they'll tag what was I was saying? They'll tag a company if somebody's getting into a disagreement, which is crazy. Oh, why? Wait, what? There's a petition out on you and Tracy. I understand why there's one out on you though. On Tracy, I understand, but I don't see why there's a petition out on you. That doesn't make any sense. Facebook is the worst when it comes to people finding your info. That's one thing I have heard too, and that's what they got in trouble for when it comes to privacy. That Facebook be cutting up because Facebook asked for a lot in order to create an account. Jesus, they really do. Like I'm like, really? Mark Zuckerberg be asking for too much sometimes. Yeah, but you can kind of get around that sometimes. Yeah, this way he's less active on Facebook. True. But that's why you're using the fan page more than anything else. That's the main thing that you need. Once you get the fan page, you can did you have your personal page? If you just work your fan page, you'll be fine. Because you see with what you do, like I said, you can get tagged, right? But it's just crazy because a lot of people think that it's okay to just put people's information out there, and it's like, no, that's not fair. That's not fun. Why you're bringing the families into it, right? No matter what, you're trying, right? You're trying not to use your real name because your doxing is crazy. Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to use usernames when you're doing social media for the most part. Absolutely. The only place that has my legal name is on Facebook. Everywhere else does not. I don't have one set up. Just an Instagram and shut that down when I got on YouTube. You would have to be careful with the profile. You were saying that the profile pictures people can search for you as well with your profile pictures. That's crazy. That is insane that people are even going to that point. I would just like check other people's information. It's just it's sad that we have to get to the point where we have to be so private, right? Well, my social media is a little bit different. So like Facebook, I use that because that's where the majority of my clients are. Instagram, I just started really getting into Instagram heavy the past couple of years, I want to say. But because I do content creation for other people, that's the reason I keep my Facebook and stuff up. Because if I didn't do what I did, I probably would have shut everything down for real. Yeah, it's like I said, it's really really interesting to kind of see like how social media has changed and to see how people kind of react to social media and the different ways that it's the image search. Yep, that's why I say like specifically be careful what your tags in. That's the just right. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing about it. You have to be the whole thing about social media is just know what you're putting online. That's the biggest thing about it. If you know what you're putting online, if you pay attention to what you're putting online, I say it all the time. Do not get online drunk. Do not post while drunk. Do not um, stream while drunk because you're more apt to do something crazy. Like I've seen content creators like be like super wasted and get on here. Don't do that. Now, if you're on a stream and you're just playing around or whatever, that's one thing. But when you come on and you are already wasting, you can barely talk. That's a disaster. Social media used to be fun, but now how people know how people used to turn it is so what's funny is that social media can do it's got its pluses and minuses like everything else, right? So like it just depends on what you're doing. Like I say tell people all the time, especially when it comes to Facebook, you choose who your friends are. You choose, right? Yeah, you choose who your friends are. Like social media is the one place where you can actually choose who your friends are. You can choose who your family is. You can choose to walk away if you need to, right? So like a lot of people don't realize is that when it comes to different platforms, you have to just act the court, just act, just understand what's going on and kind of act accordingly, right? Like if you know that like you have, I'll be talking more about it. Yes, yes. So I such since I should be talking more about, the she was talking about what is it how your profile picture can actually have people to dox you, which is crazy. Since we were talking more about that later on in this week. But yeah, Sutchison's awesome. If you guys follow her, she has some amazing tips when it comes to social media, how to grow your channel, how to build relationships on here for real. But yeah, that's the thing. Like when it comes to social media, you just have to be careful what you post. Period. And I always say think before you post. And that goes for every platform. Why? Because screenshotting exists. There are people that are getting in trouble right now because something they posted like 10 years ago. Because somebody didn't tell them somebody didn't tell them to hit send. Perfect example, the person that's in the White House currently. The amount of things that he posts now that is gonna have to be deleted once he leaves because hey Harley Q, how are you? That off of the White House platform is insane. Like they got to go through and scrub that whole thing. So it actually looks like someone with common sense was on there at this point. Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot when it comes to social media. There are a lot of precautions that you need to take when it comes to social media and being safe. And the best way to be safe on social media is just to pay attention to what you're doing and pay attention to who you're connecting to, and don't let everybody have your information. Don't talk to everyone. If you see something and if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. I say this when it comes to models all the time. I'm like, if something doesn't feel right, don't even go to that shoot. Most people don't know the Deceiver, and because of what has been done to people, I wish I find the time to talk about it. As Hutchinson knows this better than anyone. So definitely listen to her because she knows about this entire subject better than anyone. She's actually been a victim of the situation. And it's sad because people don't understand that when you start involving other people's families into this mess, you are right. There is stuff in your gun. Okay, gotcha. What people don't understand is like, Product Junkie. I don't think I've watched Product Junkie. I think I've heard of Product Junkie, but I don't think I've watched Product Junkie. Yes. Yeah, new content creators. And so like, and the biggest thing about new content creators, the best thing that I would say is grow your channel organically. Don't grow your channel by beef. That never helps anyone. And I say this all the time. I think people don't understand it. Like YouTube is a search platform. Is the biggest search, is the second biggest search engine, period. Therefore, when you do something crazy on here, it comes back to bite you hard. Just be very, very careful what you post on here, because this is the second top. People are looking, like when you type your name into Google, this is the first thing that pops up. Your YouTube videos are the very first thing that pop up. Like I challenge everyone to Google themselves. I might even do it live one time and see what pops up. If you're on Instagram, you're gonna have a whole bunch of other stuff besides Instagram that pops up, which I'm still not understanding because I'm just like, that's interesting. Because there's a whole bunch of extra Instagram stuff that comes up. Someone slow and steady has been my motto from the beginning. Yeah. It's all about letting yourself grow and building real relationships. That's how you grow for real. She was a vlog, and because they were in areas that most people knew or could find, she started having people show, whoa, Jesus. Okay. Product Junkie was a blog, and because they were in an area that most people knew or could find, she started having people show up at her door, and she had kids. And she's talking about babies. Okay. See, that's the one thing I don't worry about. I think I can't even imagine a parent having to deal with that. I don't understand why people think that is okay. It is not okay for you to show up at someone's house unannounced. Never. Ever. Especially to inseminate them. And that's what a lot of people want to do. I've heard about that. I've heard about situations where there have been racists that have said they're threatened to do so, and all of that. I've heard a lot of stories about what could happen when people are wanting to dox or threatening to dox or threatening to come see you, this and that and the third, and it is insanity that people think that is okay. Yeah, especially to your Gmail. But you can still change your name. You can still change your name on here because I did that for my first. This is actually my second channel. Which is the funny part. I actually did that for my first, and I was like, oh, I might want to change that. Yeah, so you can still change your name. You can change your username on here, even if it's connected to your Gmail. You'll be fine. So it's like, so you might even just change it to like, The same thing you have on if you have it on here, the same thing as you have on your Instagram, that would work. Or you could, or even the hashtag DCJ on the slay. Hashtag DCJ on the slay. I think that would be really cute to use name. As a matter of fact, you should change it to that. I'm just saying. She will be. We'll work on that. Yeah. Yeah, we'll work on that. Exactly. Yep, we'll work on that. We'll take care of that very, very soon. For sure. Yep, like I said, this is her first time. She good? Yeah, yeah, we'll take care of that. We can do that. We can actually do that tonight, as a matter of fact. I'll call you and we'll figure that out once I get done with Kenzel. I'll call you and we'll get that together. Right. It's the first time on YouTube, period. So this is a good thing to hear on my stream. So she can get all this great knowledge from this. Everybody that's on here, make sure you guys are following each other, because I swear these are some of the dopest people that are on here. And they're always giving the real, always showing love, and they're dope content creators. And if they're not content creators, they're amazing supporters. This is what makes social media amazing. These are people the only person that I've met in real life on here is Nishi. Everybody else I've met online. But you see they're here, exactly. But you see they're here and showing love and giving game. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. You gotta sit together for sure. We definitely gotta sit together, and that's what I've been taught, and that's why I go so hard when it comes to certain things, because that's how I've been taught, was to support independent business owners and artists. That's what I've been taught to do. That's the only thing that I know. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that I know. So I'm not. That's what's helped me to build that across all the platforms that I have. And I'm doing that for other people as well. Because a lot of people don't realize, the importance of social media, as much as people say, oh, well, there's this issue, there's that issue, there's issues with everything in real life as well. There are crazy people in real life. So, yes. This is what will be great for the new content creators. Yep. To have a lot so everybody can talk and learn on YouTube. Yeah, definitely. Let the pigs play in the mud. We don't have the time for that. Exactly. Somebody came in here earlier saying, well, I'm tired of the mess. Okay, that's great, but you stayed here for 2 seconds to say that. I'm confused on why that was the statement that you said in the platform that I'm literally talking about. My issue with the fact that people are mad about the CPS teachers striking, and they need to, because they are paying for things they should not be paying for, and they have staff, and they are lacking in staff when it comes to social workers and nurses. I forget nurses. How did I forget that? And art teachers and music teachers. Like, these are all things that are pretty important, but these are all things that aren't important enough to, Chicago to actually pay for. So yeah, I stand in case it hasn't, been addressed. I stand with the teachers and the fact that they're striking, because they should have struck a long time ago on this issue, because there never should have been one person should never be taking care of 1,000 plus students. That makes no sense to me. Because when that person's sick, there's no backup. That's the problem. When one person has to take care of 1,000 kids, when that person has to get sick or has to go somewhere, that has to, take a day off, there's no one to help. And how fair is that? Yeah, Assassin sucks with that too. She'll stay away for a few days. You get some hours, and just start sleeping. Like, you have to step away sometimes. Oh, the Tickle Lady ASMR, the spirit helps you sleep. Oh, cool. Very fun. Very, very fun. Yes. But yes. But I actually do have to get out of here because I have a meeting to go to. I'm gonna try to I cannot promise, but I'm gonna try to convince my my choreographer to go live at the studio tonight. We'll see. If he'll do it, because he's kind of nervous. I'm like, come on, let's go live. So we'll see if we can get live at the studio tonight. We're doing some stuff at the studio, either having a meeting or just playing around. I just want to get you guys to know him and see him because he's really, really dope. And we're going to be doing some more videos together for sure. So, so I'm going to see if he's able to go live tonight with me. If that's the case, then I'll be back tonight. If not tonight, we'll be back tomorrow. And then I have a couple different projects that are coming up. Thank you. Oh, thank you. You as well, Leo. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe to the page. And all of my links for all of my social media is below. Used to be a No Shade Box fan. I can't sleep without the sound of the fan. Really? That's wow. That's awesome. How interesting. It's interesting that like people have different ways that that they that that they need to fall asleep. Things that make them calm. Yes. KKR Love. I know, right? KKR Love is awesome. Yes. Nisi. Yes. Nisi J on the sleigh. Come through. Nisi J on the sleigh. Yes. I love it when my friends listen to me. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Nisi J on the sleigh. Come through. I love it. This is why I love her. She's so amazing. Yes. Yes. You'll be over. Okay. Absolutely. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, S. Robertson. Thank you, Taylor Robertson. Sorry, everybody that came in here. You all are amazing. I absolutely love y'all. Make sure to follow me on social media so I can follow you back and inbox me, and that way I can make sure that I follow you back for sure. Yes, yes, yes. Make sure you guys network in here if you have not done so, because everyone in here is thebomb.com. I'm just saying. Everyone in my streams are always awesome. So, yes, you guys, I will talk to you later. Peace and blessings to you all, and continue to express what makes you unique. Bye.